In the pulsating heart of New York, under the incessant rain of neon lights, Clark wrestled with his latest story. His office, a cramped space dwarfed by the towering buildings outside, was cluttered with papers, each a failed promise of a breakthrough. Clark was a portrait of faded ambition, a silhouette against the flickering glow of the dying lamp. His eyes, wells of shadow beneath the weight of countless sleepless nights, flickered with an ember of undying resolve. He was a man molded by relentless adversity, yet unyielding, his spirit refined in the crucible of life's cruel jests. A heavy knock sounded at the door. It swung open to reveal a stranger, shrouded in a thick coat, collar pulled up to hide the lower half of his face. His eyes, however, were clear and piercing, carrying a sense of urgency that immediately captured Clark's attention. "I have a lead," the man began, his voice grating like a rusty hinge. "Something unnatural in Gulfport, Mississippi." Clark tilted his head, a faint spark of interest igniting behind his tired gaze. "Unnatural, you say?" The stranger nodded, sliding a small, tattered envelope across the desk. "It's all there. Look into the mortician's office." Curiosity piqued, Clark unsealed the envelope, his eyes darting across the page. His expression morphed, the lines of skepticism melting into a tableau of fascination and disbelief. "This is peculiar." The stranger rose, casting a long shadow over the room. "They're hiding in plain sight, a conspiracy that festers in the belly of that town." As the door closed behind the enigmatic messenger, Clark sunk into the worn fabric of his chair, his mind a whirlwind of thoughts. Gulfport, a secret laboratory, strange rituals. Could this be the story he had been longing for? The key to his redemption? With a newfound sense of purpose, he started his preparations for the journey. He looked at the mirror, peering into his own worn reflection. His eyes no longer held the emptiness of defeat, but the stubborn flicker of hope. For the first time in a long while, he felt a strange, almost alien sensation: anticipation. As the city continued its restless dance outside his window, he was already miles away, on the sun-kissed shores of Mississippi. His mind buzzed with the possibilities, a refreshing contrast to his monotonous days. This was a chance, a single thread of opportunity amidst the labyrinth of his struggles. But within this glimmer of hope lay a shadow, an unease that wormed its way into the back of his mind. Gulfport's secrets were yet to unfold, the layers of truth shrouded in the fog of uncertainty. Little did he know, he was about to plunge into an abyss where light ceased to exist and horrors beyond comprehension lurked. The train's metallic screech was soon replaced by the ceaseless murmuring of the sea. As Clark stepped onto Gulfport's platform, a peculiar sensation crawled under his skin, like a forgotten memory. The townsfolk moved around him like ghostly apparitions, their eyes empty, their smiles hollow. As he sauntered along the sun-drenched roads, the town displayed an unsettling paradox, a haven of normalcy perched on the precipice of the uncanny. The salty air carried whispers of stories untold, secrets buried deep beneath the town's picture-perfect facade. A quaint cobblestone path led him to his objective, a time-worn mortician's office. Nestled between an old candy shop and a dilapidated chapel, the mortuary stood silent and unassuming. The name Hawthorne's Funeral Services was etched on a sign, its paint weathered away by time and indifference. A bell tinkled as he entered, the sound echoing eerily in the solemn silence. Behind a mahogany counter sat an elderly man, his wrinkled face etched with an unsettling calm. This was Mr. Hawthorne, the mortician, a man whose aura was as cryptic as the town itself. "I heard you handle the town's dearly departed," Clark began, his gaze fixated on the mortician. Hawthorne's pale eyes met his, a strange twinkle dancing within them. "Oh, we all have roles to play, son." In the conversations that ensued, Hawthorne's cryptic remarks and thinly veiled caution hinted at something far more sinister. Clark's journalistic instincts flared as he picked up on the nuances, the eerie anecdotes, and the fearful glances thrown at the mortician's office. During his investigation, Clark stumbled upon a series of unexplained deaths, their details meticulously recorded in Hawthorne's ledger. Behind each name, a story of dread unfolded, each more terrifying than the last. The town's cemetery was a silent testament to the escalating fatalities, tombstones sprouting like grotesque mushrooms in the thickening mist. A cold unease wrapped around him as he walked amidst the graves, the chilly wind whispering tales of lives abruptly terminated, of peace unnaturally disrupted. On the night of a waxing moon, he found his first tangible clue, a crude symbol carved into a crypt, half hidden in ivy. The same symbol, a sinister spiral interwoven with a distorted eye, marked numerous locations around town. Research led him to their chilling origin, a forgotten, forbidden cult, the mere mention of which instilled fear in the oldest townsmen. The quaint town of Gulfport began shedding its veil of normalcy, revealing a face marked with fear and secrets. Clark, once a spectator, was now part of the grim theater. The story he sought was unraveling, but with it came a dread he hadn't anticipated. The path was now leading him into the bowels of the town, where a dark cult was waiting, cloaked in the shadow of cosmic horror. The heart of Gulfport pulsed with an unseen dread, a silent dirge resonating in the mournful wind, serenading Clark into the abyss. Behind the tranquil facade of the coastal town lay an underbelly teeming with horrors too terrifying to name. In a secret chamber beneath the mortician's office, he discovered the grotesque epicenter of the town's dread. Hawthorne, the unassuming mortician, was the puppeteer pulling at the town's strings, a cult leader consumed by cosmic devotion. The chamber was a cathedral of the grotesque, adorned with grotesque effigies and symbols, the eye and spiral mocking him from every corner. The descent into this unhallowed den demanded every ounce of his fortitude. Each step was a new descent into the maw of the grotesque and the incomprehensible. Shadows danced menacingly along the dank stone walls, their forms twisted and grotesque in the flickering candlelight. "You're closer to the truth, Clark," Hawthorne's voice echoed, carrying the weight of unspoken horrors. "But some truths are not meant for men." Undeterred by the ominous warning, he delved deeper, his spirit bolstered by the promise of his story's climax. He discovered cryptic texts, each page a dreadful testimony of the cult's communion with celestial horrors. The cult of the cosmos, as they called themselves, were not mere worshippers. They were emissaries, willingly offering their sanity to beings far beyond mortal understanding. The fragile veil between Clark's sanity and madness began to fray. He had stumbled upon a conspiracy far beyond his darkest nightmares, a tale spun from the unholy union of mortal fear and cosmic dread. Slowly, the town of Gulfport started metamorphosing into a ghastly tableau, its streets echoing with whispers of the impending doom. The once charming coastal town was a pulsating beacon of cosmic horror, calling to entities dwelling in the unknowable depths of the universe. As he left the subterranean chamber, he felt the chilling touch of unseen eyes on his back, their gaze searing through his soul. The mortician's veiled threats rang in his ears, a grim prelude to the fate that awaited him. His story, once a beacon of hope, had now become his doom. As he stepped out into the moonlit night, he was no longer a mere spectator. He was a participant in a dreadful cosmic dance, where human existence was but a flickering candle in the face of eternal darkness. Clark stood on the precipice of truth and insanity, his soul tainted by revelations too dreadful for mortal comprehension. The once alluring coastal town of Gulfport was now a grotesque tapestry woven with threads of terror and despair. His story was near its climax, a climax which promised not triumph, but the icy embrace of the abyss. Every resident, unknowing participants in a cosmic horror, continued their life under the leering gaze of the uncaring cosmos. Clark, now the herald of their impending doom, found himself trapped in a dance macabre, spiraling into an abyss where shadows whispered of an inescapable end. The town's clock tower tolled midnight, each chime a funeral dirge. He sat at his makeshift desk, the chilling notes of his investigation spread out before him. His narrative, an unfinished symphony of dread, yearned for its final, fatalistic cadence. "It's time, Clark," came Hawthorne's gravelly voice over the phone. The mortician's thinly veiled threat carried an insidious promise. The truth that he sought was ready for its final, terrible revelation. With a sense of fatalistic determination, Clark stepped into the mortician's office. The once familiar setting had transmuted into a cathedral of cosmic dread, the air thick with the scent of unspeakable rituals. The cult of the cosmos gathered in the unhallowed depths of Hawthorne's sanctum, their eyes gleaming with mad anticipation. Hawthorne at the center awaited him, his visage a grim mockery of the man he had first met. In the climax of this dreadful ceremony, Clark, the persistent journalist, the harbinger of truth, became their final sacrifice. His screams echoed in the cavernous chamber, a requiem swallowed by the insatiable darkness. As life seeped out of him, he felt himself drawn into the swirling vortex of cosmic oblivion, his existence dwarfed by entities of unimaginable power and horror. His last thoughts were not of regret, but of a grim satisfaction. His story had found its end, not in victory, but in a terrifying revelation of mankind's insignificance in the grand cosmic scheme. His unfinished draft lay untouched on his desk, a stark epitaph of the horrifying truth he had uncovered. The town of Gulfport continued its dance on the edge of doom, oblivious of the cosmic horror that lurked beneath its quaint charm. In the face of the indifferent cosmos, his tale was but a fleeting whisper. Yet it stood as a testament to human spirit, a solemn reminder of our mortal struggle against the unknown, the inexplicable, and the terrifying. A struggle that ends not in victory but in the haunting embrace of the abyss. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed our content, show your support with a like and subscribe, and stay notified by hitting the bell icon. Expect more cosmic horror from Eldritch Tales Factory, and feel free to explore our other stories. See you in the next video.